Is drinking alcohol causing you problems in important areas of your life, yet you're finding it very difficult to stop drinking? Or have you had a period of time where you were able to stop drinking, but it felt so uncomfortable that you preferred to start drinking again despite the problems that it caused you? For most people, drinking alcohol is a social activity that is pleasurable. But for others, the use of alcohol can be problematic. And so one of the biggest challenges people can have is how can they stop drinking? So in this video, I'm going to share with you some tips and resources that you can use that can not only help you to stop drinking, but more importantly, to stay stopped. Now is always the time to start making positive changes in your life. Dr. Donna, Leigh, Bliss here. On this channel, I promote optimal mental health and well-being to help you become the best version of yourself. Please help me to grow this channel by clicking on the subscribe button. Being faced with the need to stop drinking can be overwhelming. Whether it's something you really want to do or you feel coerced into doing it because a spouse might leave you or a judge might put you in jail, it can be a very challenging task to do and bring up lots and lots of feelings in terms of being angry, feeling sorry for yourself, being resentful that other people can drink and you can't. So one of the challenges that happens is when somebody works hard to stop drinking only to start again. The feeling of demoralization from trying to do the right thing, in this case not drink, only to find yourself drinking again, can be baffling to people. They don't understand why they're doing it. Oftentimes when people do start drinking again, it feels even worse. So one of the challenges of stopping drinking is understanding what you're up against and having a plan of action on how you're going to cope with the thoughts and feelings around letting go of a relationship that had been very pleasurable to you for a long time. So the issue really isn't about stopping drinking. That's actually not that hard to do. Even if you're an alcoholic, you don't drink 24/7. There are periods of time when you don't drink. Maybe you have to go to work, or you run out of money, or you just feel so sick you can't drink. So with sufficient motivation, it's relatively easy to stop drinking. The challenge is how do you stay stopped from drinking alcohol? And there's some challenges that we have to deal with if we want to have any success at having long-term abstinence from alcohol. So one of the first things that happens when people stop drinking, usually within a few hours, is they can start experiencing physiological withdrawal symptoms. And they don't understand really what's going on with them. And it can make them feel so sick and so uncomfortable that the thought of drinking to make them feel better can be overwhelming. And many times people will start drinking within a very short period of time, even though they had a sincere desire to stop drinking. Symptoms of alcohol withdrawal can begin from 4 to 12 hours after you stop drinking. But they might not start for several days after the last drink. These symptoms can last a few days, and it can be very hard to stop drinking while you're having them. So alcohol withdrawal syndrome is a set of symptoms that occur when someone who is physically dependent upon alcohol suddenly stops drinking or drastically reduces their alcohol intake. And some of these symptoms include headaches, anxiety, having the shakes, insomnia, fatigue, mood changes. You can have heart palpitations, increased blood pressure or heart rate, rapid abnormal breathing, hallucinations, or even seizures. So the physiological withdrawal from alcohol can be very painful. It doesn't last for a real long period of time, but it could be so uncomfortable that people, without knowing what to expect, will start drinking again, because drinking helps to stave off these withdrawal symptoms and give you a temporary feeling of well-being. Of course, it's only delaying the inevitable, because when you start trying to stop drinking again, these withdrawal symptoms can come back. So while your body starts to heal after you stop drinking alcohol, there's another aspect of withdrawal that can actually be even more challenging to negotiate, and that's post-acute withdrawal. And this can happen days, weeks, or even months after your last drink. And this is because your brain, which has been used to coping with life by being anesthetized with alcohol, is now trying to recalibrate itself so it can think more clearly, respond to stress better, and do better problem solving. And what happens when people start experiencing post-acute withdrawal is they can feel so crazy and so out of balance that they will believe that the only thing that will make them feel better is to drink alcohol. And they'll do that, or they'll feel so miserable that they'll tell themselves, this is worse than when I was drinking. I might as well start drinking again, then I don't have to feel so bad, and then they will start drinking. So even though post-acute withdrawal syndrome is temporary, the symptoms can really become a driving factor in relapse. And this is true even for people who are fully committed to staying away from alcohol and really want to stay sober. So some of the symptoms include having foggy thinking or trouble remembering, urges and cravings to drink. You can be irritable or feel hostile. You can have sleep disturbances. You can have insomnia or vivid dreams. Fatigue. There can be issues with fine motor coordination. You can just feel out of whack. You can have a sensitivity to stress. You can tend to overreact or underreact to stressful situations. You can feel anxiety or panic, depression. You may have low motivation. You might have an impaired ability to focus, and you can have mood swings. So it is now important to understand that post-acute withdrawal is not really the symptoms from physiological withdrawal. They're more psychological. But because they can hit you well after the time you stop drinking, they can really be so debilitating that if you don't have a plan of action to deal with them, they can drive you to drink again, even when you don't want to. I'll tell you, I've worked with many, many people that had strong motivations to stop drinking, and I would see them and they would talk to me about how they would start drinking again even though they didn't want to. And when I talk to them about post-acute withdrawal, they'll start nodding their heads and say, I just felt so crazy. I don't know why I couldn't think straight, why I would be so irritable with my kids, why I felt so klutzy at work. I thought something was wrong with me. And it just got to be so discouraging that I started to think, I might as well drink again. And so I did. So understanding the impact of post-acute withdrawal is very, very important to help you to stay stopped from drinking alcohol. Now, in my experience, most people are going to have a very hard time staying away from alcohol without some sort of help and social support. There are people that have strong willpower and strong motivation, and they're able to stop drinking on their own and maybe stay stopped. But oftentimes they can be very stressed out, very irritable, and not coping well with life. We call this white knuckling, where they're just holding on so tight, trying so hard to control things that it becomes untenable, and oftentimes they'll start drinking again. So there are two resources that can really be of great help for you if your goal is to stay stopped. The first is moderation management. It is a support group for people who are concerned about their drinking, and they're not necessarily trying to become abstinent, although some are, but it provides a source of social support that you can get help in starting to get a handle on your drinking and get information and resources and inspiration for other people that realized they needed to stop. The other support is Alcoholics Anonymous. Alcoholics Anonymous is the first 12-step support group, and it's built on the notion that alcoholism is a disease and that 100% abstinence is required. And so it has a spiritually based program of action that involves working certain steps to take more responsibility for yourself and your life and to grow and become the best version of yourself. One of the things that's so helpful about AA, my clients tell me, is the social support. that it really helps to be able to talk to somebody when you're on edge and you have a thought to drink but you don't want to. So many people that cross the line into alcoholism realize that AA is a better fit for them. But if you're concerned about your drinking and if you're not sure if you're an alcoholic, you might find checking out AA to be very, very helpful because, again, you have the opportunity to be connected to many people who are addressing the same issue as you are and get exposed to people who are doing it successfully and feeling good about themselves. So whether your motivation to stop drinking is because it's something that you want to do or maybe you feel coerced into doing it, I encourage you to give thought to the challenges you're going to face in terms of alcohol withdrawal, but post-acute withdrawal, and consider having a plan of action that you can use to help you deal with those rough times so that you can ultimately be successful. I hope you found this video to be helpful. I've included some helpful links in the description below. Please click on the subscribe button so you'll be notified when I release other videos that you might find helpful. I've also included links for some other videos that I think you'll find helpful as you're working at staying stopped from drinking alcohol. Finally, remember, now is always the time to start making positive changes in your life. I'll see you next time.